In a matter of hours, 6 boys and 6 girls will be arriving here at this posh country estate to spend the next 2 weeks as World War II evacuees.
At the lavish Prado Hall, a brand new bunch of modern-day evacuees will have the chance to live like lords and ladies.
Very nice to meet you.
But before they can enjoy the perks of life at the top, they'll have to face a whole new set of challenges.
Excuse me, miss, you dropped your handkerchief.
I must come by and pick up some pheasants.
That's it.
They'll discover that a servant's work is never done.
We have to straight.
And that their manners must be perfect at all times.
1, 2, 3, 1!
All this without a single modern luxury in sight.
And I can't take it anymore!
This is Evacuation to the Manor House.
The British upper class. Rich, pampered, and very, very posh.
You rang, my ladyship?
21st century children. Street smart,
I like to be different because then people in my school are like, oh, look at her!
fashion conscious,
Part of the reason I'm growing my hair is because it looks very rock and roll.
fussy,
The only things I eat is peanut butter sandwich, crisps, chocolate and tomato soup.
and opinionated.
I detest sports with every fibre of my being.
So, what would happen if this lot came to stay with this lot?
Go outside! I am absolutely appalled.
I'm shocked because I've never come across manners like that in my life.
Nearly 70 years ago, on the eve of World War II, Britain's children were evacuated from cities to the countryside to escape the threat of German bombs. A lucky few were sent to the poshest houses in the land. Today, 6 girls and 6 boys from cities all across the UK are travelling back in time to experience what life would have been like for those evacuated to a manor house.
I'll be glad to get rid of my parents, but I'll be worried as well. 1940s, watch out, Olivia's coming.
I can't believe the day's come now, I'm going to be evacuated.
They're ready for whatever the 1940s can throw at them. Or so they think.
Gather round together. Gather round me here. Boys and girls, line against the wall, girls first.
The real evacuees were accompanied on their journey by school teachers, and our modern-day lot will be no different. They'll be joined every step of the way by their very own school ma'am, Miss Young.
When we get onto the platform, take what you are given politely. Do as you are told. Face forward. Begin.
If you're going to live in wartime Britain, then you've got to have the right gear. Oh dear, for some of our fashion-conscious evacuees, I think this is going to be a bit of a culture shock. In more ways than one.
There they are, take good care of them. Do not to drop or scuff your shoes.
Your shoes are all right, don't put your shoes in, all right?
Very nice.
I think they look ridiculous.
I'm going to be an eyesore. I'm not too pleased about the shoes. Not my cup of tea, I'd say.
I've got the most horrible socks in the world.
The evacuation of city children saved thousands of lives during the Second World War, but that didn't make it any easier saying goodbye to friends and family.
Again.
What
are you doing? Stay back.
Back in 1939, as the real evacuees left for their new homes in the country, they had no idea when or if they would see their families again.
I'm laughing, Mum.
crying.
For our brave time travellers, the next few weeks are just as uncertain. From now on, their only contact with their parents will be by letter.
I'm feeling nervous. I'm feeling upset that I'm leaving my mum.
I almost cried, but I didn't. Mum was like, and Dad was like, love you, and I was like, love you too, Taz. So sad.
Well, that's it. We are off. It's goodbye 21st century. Hello, wartime Britain. Our 12 modern boys and girls are now fully fledged wartime evacuees.
And this is where they're heading. Prado Hall, home to Lord and Lady Olsted. It's a posh country pile run by housekeeper Mrs. Dobinson and butler Mr. Henderson.
My domain in this house is head of house. I get up very early in the morning and I go to bed very late. The evacuees will have daily chores just like everyone else.
For children used to being cooked for, cleaned up after, and generally pampered at home, life at the Manor House is going to be tough.
Say, what's happening back here?
Sorry.
That you will not do. Come through with me. Come through with me.
Uh-oh, it's not a good start for East London lad Sam Sayre. Mind you, back at home, he's always up to something.
I do have a reputation for being a mischievous, naughty boy. I'll just be really crazy and shout and scream and stuff. When people boss me around, I'll get annoyed. It's like, Sam, 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 Sam. I'll get really angry and I'll go mental.
But Miss Young is a whole new ball game.
What kind of behaviour is that? Answer clearly. What kind of behaviour is that?
We were just screaming.
Answer my question, or let me answer it for you. That kind of behaviour is both stupid and frightening.
Well, I'm not stupid.
I was talking about your behaviour, Sarah. I need an apology now, and then I'll let you go back.
I'm sorry, Miss Young.
If he wants to get on in the 1940s, Sam better pull his socks up. Miss Young is a stickler for behaving properly.
Rowdy behaviour on any occasion is not going to be tolerated.
I don't care, really. It's not like she could do anything to me. She's not my mum.
Oh, Sam, that's fighting talk. You might want to watch it. Strict discipline is not the only new thing that they're going to have to get used to.
At the start of the Second World War, there was a clear class divide between the haves and the have-nots. How you dressed was the biggest giveaway as to which sort you were.
Our evacuees have only just noticed their outfits aren't all the same.
I need a belt, not a piece of string. Look at all the rips.
It's got a hole in me, it look like a scruff, and that one just makes it look dead smart.
When the real evacuees arrived, if they were scruffy and dirty, the locals presumed they were poor and rude. Those that were well-dressed were considered nice and polite.
I feel pretty chuffed. I feel sorry for her, but I feel pretty happy.
The Lord and Lady have very kindly sent Mr. Henderson the butler to collect the evacuees in their prized Rolls Royce.
Presentable, everybody? Presentable.
But there's not enough room for everyone. So who will be travelling in style?
Right, I'll be able to take 2 children with me. What is your name? Nish.
Nish is one of the smartest dressed boys. No surprise he got chosen then.
What is your name? Rachel, you may join us.
It's the evacuees' first taste of 1940s snobbery.
I expect to see you all back at the house shortly.
And for those too scruffy to deserve a relaxing ride in the Rolls, there's a more common mode of transport to the manor.
We walk. Follow me.
This lucky duo waste no time in enjoying the privileges of being posh.
Can't believe it. We get like a nice car and a blanket and everything. Yummy. We feel sorry for them, but at the same time we're really happy for ourselves. And we don't want to seem too superficial, but this rocks.
Brainbox Nishith Hegde is used to being top class.
My full name's Nishith, but most people can't pronounce it. I go to a big snobby grammar school in Birmingham. I'm one of the smartest people in my class. I use my computer a lot. I use it for my studies, I use it just to find out stuff, I use it in general. It's the internet, that's what it's for. I'm an intelligent person. Once you get that stereotype, it's really hard to shake it off. Sometimes I wish that I wasn't so super smart. It can be a bit annoying, but at the same time, I'm really glad that I am.
But not as glad as he is to be posh in the 1940s.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Concentrate on the walking, everyone. There's a great deal more of it.
For those getting their first taste of fresh country air, the unfairness of 40s Britain is impossible to ignore.
I was crossing my fingers hoping that he'd pick me, but, you know, he chose Nish and Rachel instead, so hope they're grateful for what they got.
I'd say there's no worries on that front.
Wow.
Good afternoon, Miss Young.
Good afternoon.
Good to see you.
Your evacuees are here.
Thank you.
Although they're guests of the Lord and Lady, during their time at Prado Hall, our modern-day evacuees will be living under the watchful eye of Mr. Henderson and the staff.
Come on, make it snappy. We haven't got all day. Come on. Put the cases down and face me.
Woe betide anyone who gets on the wrong side of them.
My name is Mr. Henderson, and I'm the butler here.
A butler's job is to manage the staff and the household. Fortunately for our evacuees, Mr. Henderson rules both with a rod of iron.
The number one rule today that you will learn is respect. Respect for my house, respect for my staff, and respect for each other. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Henderson.
Yes, Mr. Henderson.
Some evacuees did come from privileged backgrounds, but the vast majority were from poor inner-city slums.
Come along in, children. Would you please just sort of line up along there, please?
When they first arrived in the countryside, folk were appalled by the grubby state they were in, and everyone got a thorough cleaning up.
What's your name?
Scott.
Scott. Scott of the Antarctic by looking at the hairstyle.
The standard 40 style was short back and sides, and no haircut is too short for Mr. Henderson.
I never want to see your hair like the gamekeeper's sheepdog again. Is that clear?
Yes, Mr. Henderson.
Oh, I hope I ain't got my hair apart.
Come on, move on. Never mind brushing yourself. It's not a fashion contest.
The rules at Prado Hall demand that children have to ask permission to do absolutely anything.
Don't touch it. Don't touch things without asking me first.
If they don't, they'll soon face the consequences.
Never mind how you look. It's how we think you look. Is that clear? What? Yes, what?
Yes, Mr. Henderson.
Sam is finding wartime rules hard work.
My name is Mr. Henderson, and I'm the butler here. When I ask you a question, you will get your hands out of your pockets. You will respond by saying, Mr. Henderson. You stop fidgeting about, and you'll do exactly what I say. You're here as our guest, but we won't tolerate it. Is that clear? Yes, what?
Yes, Mr. Henderson.
That's better.
All I did is put my hands in my pocket. I always do that. It's not like it's anything wrong.
He didn't do much cutting, he just pulled it right out. And when he was coming, it was like he was stabbing a knife into your head.
If it was above where I live, I'd probably grow my hair all my life.
At the start of the war, class was everything. There were posh people and there was everyone else, and the two never mixed.
Manor houses like this one had a strict upstairs and downstairs divide.
Upstairs was reserved for his lord and ladyship and included all the grand rooms of the house. Downstairs was where the servants lived and worked, and it was extremely basic.
Our evacuees will be expected to muck in downstairs with the cook, housekeeper and butler to keep them on the straight and narrow.
But first they get to check out the accommodation, governed by housekeeper Mrs. Dobinson.
Don't drop your bags on the way up, will you? Hold on to your cases tightly.
The servants' quarters have been converted into dormitories, but like houses up and down the country, Prado Hall didn't know how many evacuees to expect when the war broke out.
There's 6 of us.
And 5 beds.
Yeah. No, yeah.
4 beds.
Yeah, 4 beds. I thought 2 people would have to share a double bed.
Simple maths, chaps. 6 lads, 3 single beds, 1 double. I make that 3 sharing the big bed.
All right, boys, how are we doing?
We're just wondering how we're going to fit 3 people into a double bed.
One of you's going to have to sleep with their feet here. One of you's going to have to sleep with their feet there. And one's going to have the feet there again.
Ah, Jack. Learning to make do. That's the wartime spirit. In the girls' dorm, the 40s fixation with discipline and detail is already rubbing off on one evacuee.
Are you doing that for?
Because they're really dirty.
I don't want to get told off. You'll get told off if she sees you doing that.
She's going to tell me off for shining my shoes. She'll give me a sticker.
Mary Ellen Jones wouldn't usually be seen dead wearing sandals, let alone polishing them.
I would say I'm quirky, but I'm proud of it. Standing out is my main thing. Like, when I walk into a room, I want people to look at me. I like my clothes to be like leopard prints and like really bright and electric colours, so like people notice you. I'm a fashion leader. Yeah. Well, most of my friends, like, they think that I'm like top notch.
Mary's shoe cleaning's got her noticed all right, but not how she'd hoped.
What's that smell? Can I smell shoe polish? Has anyone had shoe polish out?
That was me.
You have?
Yeah.
What have you been doing with it?
There was a bit on my shoe that was scuffed, so I put some on it.
Well, I don't think that's a very good idea at all, do you? What does shoe polish do?
Polish your shoes?
It does more than polish your shoes. It stains everything it gets onto. You never, ever, ever polish your shoes in the bedrooms.
Okay.
Hand it to me.
There's just no pleasing some people. In the 1940s, girls were expected to do all the household chores. And believe me, in a house like Prado, there's a never-ending list.
So you're going to hold your peeler. You can see these bits here. You're going to peel down and away from you like that. It's very easy.
But to help out on this first day, the boys have been given an especially dirty job.
The sooner we do this, the sooner we'll have free time and stuff.
Mr. Henderson has unpacked a load of old crockery for the evacuees to use during their stay, and he wants it clean.
What are you putting plates in here for? He's rejecting them. We're rejecting them. 1 speck of dirt on a plate.
With 20 years of butler training under his belt, Mr. Henderson has done every chore under the sun.
You finished, boys? Stand up.
We've done quite a lot. We're not nearly.
You find quite a lot.
Yeah, we've done.
So he knows when a job has been done properly.
Who's washed these? They're not clean.
And when corners have been cut.
Give me on. Boys, stop. You can do all these again. They're not good enough. You can't eat off of them. Do you remember I said about standards? Do you remember? Today, got to be done right the first time. So take the plates out in the sinks, get 2 new washer-uppers. You better get your act together. I've got a dinner soon, and I want them clean, or it will be done again. Is that clear? Come on.
I think he's just taking the mickey, really, expecting us to clean that many plates, but there's only 2 washers.
There's so many plates.
And there's only 2 washers.
Oh, just get on with it, boys. The girls have finished the spuds and they're ready for supper.
Ah, cook! Thanks very much. A lovely hearty portion of beef stew with carrots and cabbage. Hey, you can't beat a bit of good country cooking, as I'm sure our city evacuees will agree.
That looks very good, doesn't it?
While the Lord and Lady eat upstairs in the lap of luxury, the servants and our evacuees gather downstairs in far simpler surroundings.
You may be seated.
But whether upstairs or downstairs, at Prado Hall, manners are always essential.
Are you all hungry? Now remember, I want to eaten everything up. There is no other food tonight.
Evacuees were guests of the houses they stayed in, so being picky about the food was, quite simply, not the done thing.
You don't like beef?
I don't eat meat as well. We don't eat meat.
Oh dear. I feel a storm brewing for Sam.
What do you mean you don't eat meat?
We're vegetarians.
A what? I've never heard of a vegetarian before. How can you live on vegetables alone? We're not rabbits.
During the war, people who didn't eat meat were viewed with suspicion. After all, Adolf Hitler was a vegetarian. Still, Mr. Henderson is determined his evacuees won't go hungry.
I think you should have some more cabbage. Have some more cabbage.
I've had enough, thank you.
No, have a little bit more, because I'm a bit concerned you might not have any more to eat tonight. Have a little bit more cabbage. And I mean a good lot. We've all had plenty of meat. Lift the plate up and bring it to the dish. Now let's get some piles of cabbage on there. Come on. We can't pile it on. Come on, keep it going. Pile it up. Do you want me to do the cabbage for you?
There we are.
On top of being grateful for what you received, an essential part of getting on at a 40s dining table was to display the correct manners at all times.
What are you doing? You're not using your fingers to edge cabbage with, are you?
I did. I pull it out. I'm sorry. I put the fork in my mouth and then I pushed it in because some was falling out.
Oh, poor Sam. He just can't get anything right.
Fingers are not for your mouth. Fingers are for writing, for picking up, not for touching your food off your plate. Let me see you use your knife and fork to eat the cabbage with, not your fingers. Come on.
And we want nice clean plates.
If a point I can see, and don't talk with your mouth full either. Eat the cabbage.
And it just keeps getting worse.
Young man, one never uses a knife to put into their mouth. It's obvious to me you have got a lot of learning to do in regards to dining.
In 1940 society, bad table manners were simply not on.
Would you please take all the stuff out?
Thank you.
Sam, you remain. You stay there.
And Mr. Henderson wants all these boys to be gentlemen.
Thank you very much indeed.
Sam, do you know what the discussion is about?
Is it about that I'm a vegetarian?
No, not at all. You know, I seen you pick the cabbage up from your plate and put it into your mouth.
Well, I had it with a fork and I pull it and then it got... A bit was in my mouth and a bit was hanging, so I pulled it with my hand to pull it in.
Pull the other one, Sam. Mr. Henderson wasn't born yesterday.
Do you know how important table manners are?
They're very important.
All right, so why don't you use them? I'm not just having a go at you, I'm not just pulling you out. But you can't be like a monkey at a table. You know, it's not like pigs at the trough where you're going like this all the time. People are trying to enjoy their meal. Because your table manners were not up to the standards, and I'm unhappy about it, your punishment tonight is you'll be doing all the washing up by yourself tonight.
Okay.
18 plates, 36 knives and forks, 16 cups, 2 glasses and 6 serving dishes.
Right, start washing. Can you pile it up here neatly, please?
This lot should give Sam plenty to do whilst he ponders his table manners. Well, that's one way of getting through it. Let's hope Mr. Henderson doesn't notice. Luckily for Sam, he's gone upstairs, where a surprise is in store for the other evacuees.
This is a privilege. Her Ladyship and Lordship has requested to see you.
But Mr. Henderson has other ideas about this.
Myself and my staff have decided that only 4 of you should see her Lord and Ladyship today.
Mr. Henderson won't risk any evacuee upsetting his Lord and Lady with bad manners, so this is a big honour for the chosen 4.
Rachel, would you like to come over here, please? Nish, would you come over, please? Daniel, would you like to come forward? Olivia, I'd like you to come forward.
For everyone else, it's back to gloomy downstairs.
The most important thing about meeting our Lord and Ladyship is manners and etiquette.
Well, that and what treats they're going to get while in the luxurious drawing room.
So, gentlemen, when you meet Her Lord and Ladyship, I would like to give a nice firm handshake and a neck bow. Ladies, handshake, and I would like you to curtsy.
Time to greet the upper classes. Better make a good first impression.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, come through. Your Ladyship and my Lordship, these are the chosen young children because of their impeccable manners and attitude today.
So far, so good.
Isn't that splendid?
Oh, just look at those lovely cakes. Nice treat.
Worth behaving for, wasn't it? Oh, my goodness. I just hope you'll be very happy.
During the war, the British were known for keeping a stiff upper lip, and Olivia was getting into the spirit.
We have to repay you for the kindness of letting us stay in your house for while we're evacuated. So we'll be doing anything we can to help out.
Oh, bravo, Olivia. Great first impression.
So tonight, as well as remembering your mummy and daddy, also think of all the soldiers, airmen and sailors who are out there now risking their lives for all of us. Think what a huge debt we owe them, and just pray that God looks after them all, won't you?
Girls and boys?
Sleep well, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you very much. It was very nice meeting you.
I thought she looked quite like the Queen, and his lordship, I think he really looked like Prince Charles.
We all thought they were going to be really sort of stuck up and horrible and stern, but they weren't. They were actually really nice.
We had some cake. It's a very nice cake. I haven't actually told my friends because they'd probably be a bit jealous.
So they've made it through their first day as World War II evacuees.
Right, boys, let's go through now to your room.
And they've all got a lot on their minds.
I'm going to grow my hair long as soon as I get home again.
I want to get into the good books of everybody. I mean, there's no point getting to the bad books like some people.
I think it'll be a living nightmare staying here for weeks.
I suppose it's only a bed, and if we separate ourselves, it'll be okay.
Luckily, we're going to be here for only a few weeks, but the evacuees had to do it for 5, 6 or 7 years.
Right, come along. Everybody into bed, please.
Still, even though the sun has gone down, our evacuees are looking on the bright side.
I've never slept in a double bed before.
I hope you all sleep very well, and I'll see you in the morning. Night, night. God bless all of you.
Coming up next time on Evacuation to the Manor House, the mystery of the Phantom Potty Pier.
Everyone's suspicious about everyone else.
A dose of foul medicine.
To be honest, I actually threw up in my mouth and swallowed it again.
And the chores become a challenge.
I'm not doing poo. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm doing nothing.
We've got all that big new guys, movies, TV, and coming out on DVD. Call this BBC, CBBC. Stop. It's not working. Friday download, instant download for the week ahead. We've got dance, movie, singing, TV shows, games and gadgets. Have I missed anything?
Yes, Danny Harmer.
Hi, guys. Don't miss Friday download.
Starts Friday at 5:30 on the CBBC channel.